Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Sunday, October 19th, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The high in Riverside today is 80.4 degrees, with a low dipping to 59.3, so expect a pleasant fall day with mild evenings ahead. Coming up, we'll examine China's claims that the NSA targeted its national timekeeping facility in a cyber intrusion and unpack the factors fueling widespread No Kings demonstrations across California cities. Plus, we'll cover other key developments from around the world and closer to home. All this and more on Alex's News. Stay tuned. Good morning, everyone. We start today's top stories with a ticking time bomb in international relations. China has leveled serious accusations against the United States National Security Agency for cyber attacks on their key timekeeping center. Joining me from the studio to unpack this is our national security correspondent, Ethan. Ethan, what exactly is China claiming here?
Grace, it's a real shocker on the cyber front. According to a statement from China's Ministry of State Security, their top counter-espionage agency, the U.S. National Security Agency, has been running long-term, highly covert cyber attacks against the National Time Service Center in Xi'an, Shanxi Province. This came out in a WeChat post today, October 19, 2025, and it's painting a picture of state-level espionage that could disrupt everything from clocks to national security.
The National Time Service Center sounds crucial. But for folks not in the tech world, what does it actually do? And why is it such a big deal?
Absolutely, Grace. Let's break it down. The center, run by the Chinese Academy of Sciences, is basically the heartbeat of China's time system. It creates and sends out Beijing time, the official standard, and provides super precise timing for things we all rely on daily. As ABC News reported early this morning, drawing from Associated Press details, this powers communications like your phone calls, financial trades that need split-second accuracy, power grids to avoid blackouts, transportation from high-speed trains to flights, GPS like mapping with their Beidou satellites, and even defense stuff like missile guidance. Imagine if it glitched. Mobile networks could freeze because data packets in 5G systems desync. Banks might halt trades without those millisecond timestamps for fraud checks. Smart grids could trigger unnecessary shutdowns, and logistics could derail completely. It's not just about watching the clock. It's the backbone keeping society in sync.
Wow, that sounds like it could cause real chaos. When did these alleged attacks start, and how sophisticated were they?
The timeline is chilling, starting back in March 2022, per the ministry's details. They say the NSA exploited weaknesses in a foreign mobile phone brand's messaging app. Think something like those Western devices we use, though they did not name it. This let attackers snag staff credentials and slip into the center's networks, stealing sensitive data right from the start. Then it ramped up from 2023 to 2024, with 42 special cyber attack weapons deployed, meaning custom malware and tools aimed at core parts like atomic clocks and sync servers. The South China Morning Post, in a piece from Beijing at 2:04 p.m. Hong Kong time, called it highly covert, targeting high-precision ground systems that could even fake time signals and shake trust in the whole setup.
No evidence shared publicly yet, right? And what's the U.S. response so far?
Spot on, Grace. The ministry claims they have evidence from their probe, but shared no tech specifics like malware signatures or vulnerability IDs in the post. They did team up with the center to cut off the attacks, patch holes, and segment networks for better defense. As for the U.S., silence so far. No word from the government, State Department, NSA, or embassy in Beijing, according to ABC News, Yahoo Finance via Associated Press at 1:09 a.m. Pacific Time, and Benzinga. That's typical when claims lack backup, fitting the back-and-forth cyber blame game. China calls out U.S. hypocrisy, like hyping their own threats while doing the same, as the ministry put it. Remember, just last month in September 2025, the NSA and allies warned about Chinese hackers in telecoms and energy, with real tactics detailed.
This fits into bigger tensions, does it not? With trade and all.
Totally, Grace. It's amid trade wars, chip curbs, AI rules, and Taiwan worries. Outlets like Channel News Asia, Arab News, and the Global Times see it escalating the rift. Experts note time sync is fragile. Even NIST and International Telecom Union reports say small glitches can snowball, as U.S. Energy Department labs simulated. No independent firms like Mandiant or CrowdStrike have weighed in yet on these claims, per Cyberscoop and others, due to how fresh it is and the secrecy cloak on both sides.
Time will tell on verification, pun intended, but this is story 1 of 2 today. Thanks for the deep dive, Ethan.
My pleasure, Grace.
Good morning, everyone. Returning now to the massive protests that gripped the nation yesterday. The second wave of No Kings demonstrations, pushing back against President Trump's administration. Joining me to unpack this story is our political reporter, Chloe. Chloe, what can you tell us about the scale and significance of these events?
Grace, the second No Kings mobilization on October 18th drew an estimated 7 million participants across more than 2,700 rallies in all 50 states, according to organizers like Indivisible and the 50501 movement. That's a huge jump from the 2,100 events back in June. Yahoo News called it one of the largest protest movements in U.S. history, with live coverage from reporter Jack Brewster, highlighting how it built on spring actions against Trump and Elon Musk.
7 million is staggering. And in California, where things really heated up, how did the Golden State become such an epicenter?
Absolutely, California symbolized a unified anti-Trump push, with tens of thousands in dozens of cities from San Francisco to San Diego. The Press Democrat reported a festive yet urgent street party vibe in the North Bay, like Santa Rosa and Petaluma, where intergenerational crowds submitted photos of their rallies. Governor Gavin Newsom criticized the administration's authoritarian playbook on X, urging peaceful unity. It's no wonder, with the 18-day federal shutdown since October 1st furloughing 900,000 workers and leaving 700,000 unpaid, including military folks.
That shutdown is causing real pain. What were the protesters chanting and carrying to make their point?
The rallying cry was "No kings, no crowns, we will not bow down," framing it as patriotic defense of democracy. ABC 7 Los Angeles, drawing from Associated Press reporting, described giant "We the People" banners modeled after the Constitution for signers to pledge resistance. Signs popped up like "Nothing is more patriotic than protesting," "Resist fascism," and clever puns such as "No thrones, no crowns, no kings," or "Veto the Cheeto." Costumes added humor. Think inflatable frogs, symbolizing slippery resistance from Portland, Oregon dinosaurs as tyrannosaurs against tyrants, and plenty of Statue of Liberty outfits.
Love the throne room wordplay there, crowning a resistance movement. Let's zoom in on Los Angeles. What happened in Grand Park?
In LA, thousands gathered peacefully in Grand Park and downtown during the day, but tensions rose near the Metropolitan Detention Center in the evening, as ABC 7 detailed from AP journalists Lisa Mascaro and Jill Colvin. Protesters used an inflatable Trump in a diaper as satire, chanting "Liberty and dump Trump." The LAPD issued dispersal orders after nearly 100 agitators lashed out with lasers and lights at officers and an airship. They deployed non-lethal munitions like pepper balls, smoke canisters, and tear gas, but no arrests by late evening. The Los Angeles Times linked it to grievances over immigration sweeps and military deployments.
And Representative Robert Garcia's take from Long Beach?
Garcia praised the thousands lining Ocean Boulevard, saying he's proud of California's stand. Peacefulness was key statewide, like in San Diego, where over 25,000 rallied at Civic Center Plaza and Waterfront Park, with the San Diego Union Tribune via Yahoo News reporting 14 events and 0 arrests.
Heading north, San Francisco sounds electric.
Tens of thousands marched from the Embarcadero down Market Street to Civic Center, per ABC 7's Terry Che. At Ocean Beach, Crowds formed human banners spelling "No Kings" and "Yes" on 50, a proposition for congressional redistricting. CBS News covered similar energy in Sacramento near the state capital, Oakland, San Jose, Roseville, and Chico, all decrying federal overreach.
These protests tied into bigger fears, like the military deployments to U.S. cities. Can you explain those?
Core motivations included fears of democratic erosion exacerbated by the shutdown and troops in cities seen as an authoritarian slide. According to ABC7 and AP, key flashpoints were immigration detentions without due process, free speech clampdowns, Roe v. Wade reversal, healthcare cuts, and environmental deregulation. Trump deployed federalized National Guard under Title 10 U.S.C. Section 12406, which lets the president activate them for rebellion or law enforcement. In LA, he ordered 700 Marines and 4,000 Guard in June, with about 100 California Guards still active by mid-October. A U.S. District Court ruled it illegal on September 2nd, violating the Posse Comitatus Act, that 1878 law barring military from domestic law enforcement, but a Ninth Circuit stay kept them there. Governor Newsom sued, calling it power abuse.
And other cities like Chicago and Portland?
In Chicago, on October 4th, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth federalized 300 Illinois Guard and over 200 from Texas, totaling about 500 by October 8th for crime and immigration. Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Mayor Brandon Johnson called it outrageous. A judge blocked it temporarily on October 9th, upheld by the 7th Circuit on October 16th, with Trump appealing to the Supreme Court on October 17th. Portland saw 200 Oregon Guard authorized September 28th for 60 days to protect ICE from alleged Antifa threats. Oregon Governor Tina Kotek refused. Judge Corinne Immergut blocked it October 4th as untethered to facts and 10th Amendment violating. Trump threatened the Insurrection Act, that 1807 law allowing military for insurrections without state okay, last used in 1992 for LA riots.
Protesters like Haley Wingard voiced those dictator fears to ABC7, and nationally, Bernie Sanders and others joined in.
First-timer Haley in San Francisco as the Statue of Liberty, worried about invasions in places like Portland. Iraq vet Sean Howard in D.C. told Yahoo News it's law disregard. Sanders told D.C. crowds, "We, the people, will rule." Senators Elizabeth Warren in Boston, Chuck Schumer in New York, Chris Murphy in Connecticut, Adam Schiff in California, and Pritzker warned of takeover. Bill Nye bashed petulant leadership and NASA cuts. Schumer marched with unions. "We have no dictators in America." Indivisible's Ezra Levine noted Democrats' growing spine linking to shut down healthcare demands.
Trump dismissed it from Mar-a-Lago.
In a Fox News interview, he said, quote, "I'm not a king," end quote, while his campaign trolled with crowned CGI on X and the White House Bluesky did sarcastic montages. Republicans like Speaker Mike Johnson called them Hate America rallies of Antifa types, communists and Marxists, blaming Democrats for shutdown prolongation.
Mostly peaceful, though?
Overwhelmingly yes, with ACLU trainings on nonviolence. Yahoo News and ABC7 reported no major arrests in New York, with over 100,000 D.C., with 200,000 Boston, San Diego, or San Francisco. Isolated incidents: Denver police used pepper balls on splinter groups, several arrests per Denverite. Portland federal agents tear-gassed an ICE clash via The Guardian. 4 arrests near Chicago in Broadview, CBS News said. Salt Lake City stayed peaceful at the Capitol for hope and healing, avoiding march after a June shooting, per KSL.com and Standard Examiner. No widespread damage, and law enforcement respected First Amendment rights.
International solidarity, too.
Yes, protests at U.S. embassies in London with dinosaur costumes, Madrid, Berlin, Stockholm, Rome, and Paris with a dog holding dogs against Trump, signs like Make America Sane Again or Stop Making War on Your Own People, as Yahoo News and Al Jazeera covered. Even in Trump's strongholds like Birmingham, Alabama, over 1,500 evoked civil rights history.
Politically, Democrats like Murphy see momentum.
Murphy praised boosting confidence to speak up, shut down halted programs, tied to critiques of Trump's military parade and Musk cuts. As of today, October 19th, the Press Democrat noted North Bay risks like $100 million in clean energy grants cut and disability programs ended. Legal battles continue, Oregon block until at least today, Chicago Supreme Court pending.
Chloe, that's a throne of comprehensive coverage on these No Kings protests. Thanks so much for breaking it all down.
My pleasure, Grace.
Here are some other headlines. Broadcasting has lost a signal that once set the national tone. Susan Stamberg, a pioneering NPR journalist and the first woman to anchor a national nightly news program in the U.S., has died at 87. NPR announced her passing Thursday, October 16th. A co-host of All Things Considered from 1972 to 1986, Stamberg joined the network in 1971 and retired just last month, after an estimated 50,000 interviews that shaped the sound of public radio. As one of NPR's founding mothers, alongside Nina Totenberg, Linda Wertheimer, and the late Cokie Roberts, she broke barriers at a time when the newsroom was largely a boys' club. Her son, actor Josh Stamberg, called her a true humanitarian whose life's work was connection, proof that when Susan spoke softly, the nation listened loudly. In Connecticut, a once booming lobster industry is feeling decidedly under the weather and under the waterline. 26 years after a catastrophic 1999 die-off in Long Island Sound, lobster landings are now less than 5% of their 1998 peak, according to the CT Mirror. From roughly 1-200 commercial lobstermen in the 1990s, the state now has no full-time lobstermen, just a handful of part-timers, many in Stonington, hauling in a fraction of former catches. Though some still point a claw at pesticide spraying after Tropical Storm Floyd, scientists say warming waters and disease are the main culprits. Economic ripples have become tidal waves. Boats sold, livelihoods lost, and even dock space faces pressure from luxury development. For a fishery once third in the nation, it's a net loss with little hope of clawing back. Finding your way indoors is getting a new lease on life, and a lease on lobbies. Good Maps, born from the American Printing House for the Blind, is expanding its turn-by-turn indoor navigation beyond visually impaired users to sighted travelers and venue operators. CEO Teresa Reno Weber touts enormous potential. Think curb cuts and captions, but for wayfinding. Recent deployments at Nashville International Airport mean anyone can map their route from gate to latte, with LiDAR and camera-based positioning providing precise directions without heavy infrastructure. Reports from public radio and CTV News highlight life-changing gains for people with vision or hearing challenges, while awards nods suggest this indoorsy innovation could become a universal compass in complex spaces, like airports and train stations, turning getting lost into found time. In Morocco, a movement called Gen Z 212 is making civic noise without missing a beat or a post. Hundreds of young demonstrators rallied again in cities including Casablanca and Tangier, demanding education and healthcare reform, government accountability, and an end to corruption. Organized on platforms like Discord, the leaderless protests also call for Prime Minister Aziz Akannouche's resignation and decry spending on stadiums for the Africa Cup of Nations and the 2030 FIFA World Cup while public services languish. Beginning in late September, the unrest has triggered hundreds of arrests and deadly encounters with police, prompting human rights groups to urge restraint. As Morocco prepares for marquee sports events, it's facing a generational full-court press. And in the Israel-Hamas conflict, a grim exchange under a fragile U.S.-brokered ceasefire, Hamas transferred 2 coffins to the Red Cross, which handed them to Israeli forces for identification. Authorities say the remains are Ronan Engel, 54, killed in the October 7th attack on kibbutz Nir Oz, and Santaya Ukarsri, a 30-year-old Thai citizen killed at kibbutz Be'eri. The return of deceased hostages remains a sticking point. Israel has tied fully reopening the Rafah crossing to the return of all remains. With these two, 12 have been returned, 16 still remain. Proof that even in a ceasefire, closure can be the hardest line to cross. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King with Claude Sonnet 4.0, Gemini Pro 2.5, Gemini Flash 2.5, and Google Cloud Text-to-Speech. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.